And to be fair, there's also a lot of movements. You've got this government legislative movement that's happening, but then you've got citizen, disclosure investigations and the like, right, that are happening that people probably get more out of, is more
Mhm.
fruitful, because again, we're waiting on the government, right? We're waiting on things they can't say. I can't say that, I can't do that. But you've got these other endeavors happening that are much easier to get behind and get more information and kind of fill that
Absolutely. The
void.
problem, as always, with those movements is like we can believe sort of citizen advocates and citizen journalists to the extent that we think the evidence that they're providing supports their claims. That's an order of magnitude different than the government of the most powerful nation in the world acknowledging, first of all, that these things are real, and secondly, sort of spooling out for us what exactly they know and how they know it and why they know it and why they have been obfuscating or why they haven't been obfuscating. Like, unfortunately, like the gold standard for disclosure has to come from the government, and really, globally speaking, it almost has to come from the American government. I mean, I suppose China could do it. I wouldn't necessarily trust Russia to do it. I mean, and maybe Canada. I mean, there's other countries that could do it, but I suspect they're all waiting for us to go first for whatever geopolitical reasons they have for doing that. And it really feels like it might happen, which is an insane thing to even
Crazy.
contemplate.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
But
No,
it
you're
kind of
right.
feels like it feels to me like the American government is right at the precipice of taking that next step. And the next step in my mind is not only are these things real, we now can say with confidence they're not human. Like, that's sort of the next step.
Yeah.
And then obviously
Correct.
and then the dam breaks. And that's
Yeah.
probably why it's so difficult, because once you make that acknowledgement, now the genie's out of the bottle, and the field just explodes in ways that there are probably secondary and tertiary consequences that we can't quite predict. So from that point of view, you go, well, that makes sense why a government, in particular this government, would be very, very cautious about disclosure, because you just don't know how people are going to react. Yes, I know Rand did studies and people did studies and blah, 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 blah. But until it happens, I don't think we really know. Now, I have my suspicions about how people will react, which is
Sure.
that they will go, oh my God. And then 24 hours later, Ray J will do something stupid and will be like, oh my God, Ray J did something stupid. I don't even know who Ray J is. I feel like that's an actual celebrity. I don't know.
That's probably an influencer somewhere, right, on TikTok. Yeah, he does cooking videos or something.
But I
Yeah,
mean, I
no,
feel like
that's
that's the
funny.
way it's going to go. Like,
Yeah.
because, and I'll take it a step further. That's the way it should go. And the reason it should go that way is because for the past however many decades, somebody's been sort of setting the table, or a lot of people have been setting the table for an eventual disclosure moment. I don't think we'd be as freaked out because it's so a part of the culture already. So many people already believe it that next step, I don't think will be too devastating for people. But what happens after that and what happens after that might be. And that's where I think the attention needs to be. Not so much about disclosure, but about what happens afterwards.
Well, that's an interesting point for sure. Absolutely. And I think it's just the world is so big and different in different cultures, and just I think it's just gonna be a mix of things. You're gonna see pockets where it's handled well, other pockets not, just kind of it is a little unpredictable. I mean, we have a few references of certain things we could go up, how COVID was handled, how
Sure.
certain wars are handled, certain, confrontations, but at the end of the day,
But the difference is, like,
yeah,
the acknowledgement of these things are not human. The paradigm doesn't necessarily need to be confrontational, the way our approach to a disease is going to be confrontational, or our approach to a war is going to be confrontational. Like, those are oppositional ideas. Just the fact of a non-human intelligence visiting us, let's say, or arising from us, whatever the case may be, that's not necessarily confrontational. Now, if, let's say, the American government is in possession of knowledge that it is confrontational, that there are there is a sort of whatever brewing. That's entirely different.
Yeah,
I know, speaking personally, I don't know why you would come to that conclusion, um, if you didn't have some sort of information indicating that. I know, like, Elizondo and a lot of people who come from it from a national security point of view remain concerned, and they should be. But from
sure.
my point of view, and I think from most people's point of view, it's sort of like, okay, well, they've been here. They haven't been doing shit to us. I mean, maybe the abduction stuff you could argue, but the idea of an imminent invasion or shit like that, like, I don't know. But I'd rather know than not know.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
I'd like to get my affairs in order. I want it.
yeah,
If the aliens are coming and they're mean, I want to start securing my heroin right now, because that's something that I feel like I would enjoy. So once I get the
bucket
terminal
list.
diagnosis, let me try
Yeah,
the heroin, you know?
yeah,
Let me
absolute bucket list. I get
Yeah,
it.
let me have
I
a lot
get
of
it.
Ben& and Jerry's in the days and weeks leading up to this alien invasion. Like, I wanna know.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's hilarious, and that's a great point, actually. One thing is to find out, okay, we're not alone. Another thing is to find out, yeah, we're not alone, and watch the skies because they may be coming or this may be the amount of interruption it would have on your life is really the indicator, right? Like that knowledge, how much interruption comes with that knowledge. Is it just the knowledge? Because you're right, that is completely different than those other situations. But if it comes with this back end of, nope, we have this, and we got to prepare, and that, I'm with you. It's a totally different, holy shit moment.
And let's say that that is the case. Let's say that, they do know there's a sort of malevolent intention there. Well, wouldn't it behoove the entire world to know that so that we could figure some shit out together?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
Absolutely.
it's like Reagan's point about, I often think about what would happen if aliens were invading us and how that would unite us. And yeah, I mean, I don't agree with Reagan on that much, but on that I do.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Would it be an Independence Day moment? You would hope, or not. I don't know. I guess I'm different every day. Some days I wake up and I have a lot of faith in humanity, and other days I see things I just have no faith in
Yep.
humanity, you know?
Yeah, I'm the same.